Good morning, beloved. Peace be with you. Our gospel today is just 3 verses. We are in this from Luke chapter 6. It's actually just pulling right out of part of Luke's version of Matthew's Sermon on the Mount. And so it's a lot, especially a lot of those same old, do this, don't do this. If you do this, then this is going to happen. This is about three chapters of the Sermon on the Mount, of basically summarizing Jesus' teachings, and goes over a lot of the principles of Jesus' teachings, which is good to remember because that tells us that what is in that Sermon on the Mount or the Sermon on the Plain in Luke, even our passage today, is interconnected with all the other things that Jesus is teaching, especially principles that he teaches throughout the Gospels. And oftentimes we find these same concepts and principles further or more detailed explained by St. Paul in a lot of his letters, depending on what he's dealing with in different churches. And so it's good to remember that when we take something in context, it's not just the surrounding verses before and after, but it's really the context of the whole New Testament teaching that we get from Jesus and further explained by revelation through St. Paul. So I want to bring in some of that to help just maybe expand our horizon on some of these teachings. The first is just to recognize, actually this passage is taken out of context. The church took it out of context. This first line, Jesus said to his disciples, "Be merciful just as your Father is merciful." Actually, the Greek says, "Therefore, be merciful just as your Father is merciful." And when you hear a "therefore," that means based on what I just said, which means, be merciful therefore be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Therefore, okay, wait, so what did you say before this? Because, see, the church is actually trying to apply what happens after it. Be merciful as your Heavenly Father is merciful, and here's how you can be merciful. Well, no, actually, it's be merciful based on what I just said, based on how I just told you God acts. I'm going to let you go look that up. Of course, it all interconnects anyway, but that's the proper context. Now here, stop judging and you will not be judged. Stop condemning and you will not be condemned. I give you 2 further teachings, one from Paul, one from Jesus. Paul brings up this concept in one of his letters. I want to say it's the Corinthians, but I'd have to look it up to be sure. But he basically tells them, don't judge, don't condemn. I don't judge you, don't judge me, don't judge each other. I don't even judge myself. Why? He says, because now is not the time for judgment. This is not the time for judgment. The judgment is coming at the end of time. We're in the section called the last days. This is not the season of judgment. The judgment is coming later. This is the season of mercy, where God is merciful to us. And mercy includes forgiveness. Mercy includes goodness, being good to people, hoping that as they experience goodness, they will turn to God. Mercy includes right teaching and explanations of truth so that people can understand why they need to turn towards God. So Paul said, this is a time of mercy, which ties right in with that first line. Therefore, be merciful, as our Heavenly Father is merciful. This is the time and season in life of mercy, biblically, of mercy. This is the Father is treating you and I with mercy. Jesus says God is patient with us towards our salvation. He's patient not because, okay, just do whatever you want because it's not judgment time yet. No, he's patient towards our salvation. So he's patient with us with the hope we're going to turn towards him for salvation, to experience salvation and accept what he's done for us. So that's what Paul expands on it. Now there's another teaching Jesus gives, a general principle, and then he applies it to prayer, and you can apply it. It may be a little stretch, but I think you can apply it to this one too. Mark explains it, has the longest explanation in Mark 11. Remember the passage when Jesus is talking about remember he curses the fig tree, and then the next day they come around and they're all like, "Look, Rabbi, the tree that you cursed, it's withered." And he's like, "You guys, I'm trying to admit this is how you speak and pray with faith. Look, if you could just speak to this mountain over here and tell it, get up and go be cast into the sea. And if whoever says that, whoever says that and does not doubt in their heart but believes what he says, it will happen. He will have whatever he says. That's how Mark explains it. So listen to those. I was quoting. So listen to some of those words. If we take out the mountain part for clarity, Jesus says, whoever says something and does not doubt in their heart but believes, then whatever he says will be done, or he says it will be done, and he will have whatever he says. Just think of that line. He will have whatever he says. It will be done and he will have it. So it will be done and he will have it. Stop judging and you will not be judged. Because if you judge, it will be done and you will have what you have said. The judgment you gave will be done, but you will also have that judgment upon yourself. Stop condemning, you will not be condemned. Why? Because whatever you say in faith will be done and you will have it. If you condemn, it will be done, but you will also have that same condemnation reckoned to you. Therefore, he says, forgive. Why? If you forgive, it will be done, and then you will have forgiveness too. Give, and it will be given to you, right? Give. Why? Because if you give, it will be done, and it will happen unto you. This is a general principle that Jesus is showing how this principle of faith operates in the Spirit. And as you keep reading after this passage, he'll say, therefore, when you pray according to this principle. So ask with faith for something good, because then it will be done, and it will happen unto you. That's how Jesus would explain it as you tie in his other teaching. The measure with which you will measure will in return be measured out to you. Whatever you do will come back unto you. It's very much like his teaching as well. Do unto others what you want done unto you. Why? Because what you do unto others will be done unto you. See how it's just all interconnected with his teachings. Whew. Careful what you ask for, as you just might get it, as they say. Let's stand and offer our Father some prayers today.
Our response is, Lord, graciously hear us. For an increase in religious vocations, may the Lord bless